Welcome to another episode of Mick and the Fat Man, where we are talking artists, albums, and everything music. Well, welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Mick of the Fat Man Series 4, episode number 16. And g'day, Mick. Happy rock and roll to you, sir. And how are you travelling?
Mate, just travelling just fine. Yeah, enjoying life. Beautiful sunny day, looking out the window and seeing very few clouds.
Enjoying the early summer that we've received.
Oh, that's right. And I mean, summer's going to start next year, where winter used to be.
Yeah, we're just going to have to keep moving more and more south.
I think so. Antarctica's looking good. Better get in now while you can still get a block of land.
I think we might have to. We might settle for Tasmania for the next few years.
That should see us out.
That might do us, I think.
Although they've got a lot of trees, a lot of bushfire risk.
They actually do get good bushfires down there.
They do, yeah.
In February usually.
Well, we're going to have to think about that. That may not be the best endorsement.
I'm certainly not going to go to some of the rural areas of Victoria or those sorts of places either.
Oh, they're still on fire now, aren't they, from last year?
Oh, from Black Friday, still going.
Absolutely. Yeah, welcome to Australia, a wide brown land, a wide black land.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, let's move on. Mick, the beautiful and magnificent Globite travel bag with luxurious designer interior. Let's get it up and let's get that sucker unlocked.
Click away.
Built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the inside ones.
Yeah, get the one that's got
7.
the padded section.
There.
That's it. Yeah.
Wow.
Look what's in there? That's all your bad albums.
Oh, there's a lot of
bloody
them.
lot, isn't it? Gee whiz, you've made some bad decisions in your life. Oh, look, on top of this, there's a note.
What?
Yeah, it's I don't know how he got it in there, but it's from Nick Farmer.
Oh yeah,
you recall Nick from Victoria?
Yeah, Nick.
Yeah, he's the world's biggest fan of Nick Lowe.
Yeah,
and
it's only because they got the same first name, though, isn't it?
I think that's what it is. Yeah. He's got a certain affinity with him, and thought, well, I'll see if I can get these blokes to talk about Nick, and then pretend they're talking about me all the time.
Probably likes Nick Cave, and that's probably about it.
Oh,
I'd say that's all. He just likes Nick music.
Oh, so maybe we're going to do an episode on Nicks.
That's not
Stevie.
Stevie, he might like Stevie.
Okay, we could do that.
We used to love Stevie.
But anyway, Nick's gone to the trouble of almost writing an episode for us.
Excellent.
The amount of info he sent me on Nick Lowe, where I mentioned a few weeks back that I was having trouble getting hold of getting a grip on Nick.
Getting your head round Nick.
Absolutely, yeah, I was having trouble. And he's given me heaps. So I've been having a good old listen since, and I think in one of our episodes before we finish for the year, we'll give a bit of a hit out at Nick Lowe and see what the cat brings in. There's your mixed metaphor for you, mate. But anyway, let's go back to your terrible albums, or as we like to talk about them, Jeff's bad album decisions.
Before we proceed, though, Mick, I think we might need to do a little bit of you know what I mean, baby.
Folks, if we were on video,
that is rock.
You would see Jeffrey dancing to his own little music there.
I know. How good is it? A bit of rock news. It's not really the sort of standard rock news we do, but I was told by Jarrah, Mr. Panama himself, he said, go and have a look at this musical documentary called Under the Volcano. And so I said, he said, that's really, really good. And I said, yeah, all right, I'll go and have a look at it. And so I did. And I was familiar with the musical studio on the island of Montserrat in the Caribbean, but that was all. Just familiar with it. I knew the Police played, Sting played there. That's about all I knew. But this documentary sort of records the history of the existence of this studio on this beautiful, idyllic tropical island, which was basically created by George Martin, ex Beatles days.
Okay. Yep.
Who actually started up this recording company called Air, Associate Independent Recordings, in Oxford Circus in London. Got bought out, and thought, right, that's a good reason for me to go down onto the island, which I love going to, at Montserrat in the Bahamas, and build a new one. And build a new studio, cutting edge, state of the art music studio, and get artists to fly in, have a beautiful holiday, and make an album. So he did, and so it took him, I think, a couple of years to basically get it all up and running. He had some of the best equipment out there. There was what was the name of the bloody Neve, Neve mixing consoles, which were the top of the pops. He had heaps of channels to record to. And basically, so in 1979, he started doing recordings there. So they had the recording studio. They had accommodation for the band to live in. They had chefs and a cook. They had a pool, and basically you could do anything you want. You roll up and you say, "Oh, we need some weed." Bango. Someone's gone off and got you some weed. Oh, I'd like to learn to sailboard. Yep, sure. There's a guy down there at the beach. He'll teach you how to sailboard. Oh, let's go and have a look at the volcano. Yeah, we're going to have a look at the volcano because it's on a volcanic island. And yeah, so there was still sort of mild volcanic activity happening on the island and stuff like that. So anyway, so got it all up and running, and basically there was a long list of famous artists that went to record there. So Jimmy Buffett recorded an album called Volcano on the island. Elton John recorded 3 albums on the island. And Dire Straits recorded Brother in Arms on the island between 1984 and 1985. And if you remember, the song had that little bit of "I Want My MTV," which was Sting, who had just been there with the Police and stayed on to have a bit of a holiday. And they were recording the album and they thought they need something else. If only we could have someone like Sting or something like that. And one of the people there said, "Oh, he's just down the road on holidays." So, voila, there he is on this bloody album.
Well, the Police used a lot of this studio. They recorded all of their later albums there, which in some ways showed what was wrong with the Police.
The last album was quite fractious when they recorded it there. They were sort of at each other a bit, and they weren't very. The way they recorded it too, they had Steve Copeland was actually in a totally different room, and it wasn't very band like. But they recorded basically some of the most successful music in those last recording sessions. So whatever, just happened. So so there was some amazing people there. There was, as we said, the Police, the Ghost in the Machine, and Synchronicity, Earth, Wind and Fire, Ultravox, our favourite band, Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, Paul McCartney, Jerry Rafferty, Rush, Rolling Stones, Black Sabbath, Midge, Little River Band was there, Duran Duran, Sheena Easton, and Lou Reed went there to do some work. And
Lou Reed's a man who appreciates your state-of-the-art studios.
State-of-the-art studios and the beautiful, beautiful surrounds of a tropical island. And he actually gets interviewed. He says, "I didn't like it. Too quiet, too pretty. No, not my place to make music. I need somewhere like New York."
Yeah.
So he wasn't overly excited by it. But anyway, in 1989, Hurricane Hugo hit the island and basically destroyed 90% of the island. And George Martin actually held a benefit concert to raise money for it and got it back going again. And after that, basically the studio got damaged by the water and stuff like that, so he shut the studio down. I was always of the view that the volcano had destroyed the studio, but in fact it was the hurricane that destroyed the studio. Didn't really destroy it. They could have probably fixed it up if they wanted to. But it was getting to the end of an era, and the era was that studios were not really wanting to spend the money to put bands down there. This was the start of the digital era of music. Studios, big studio desks and panels weren't really needed anymore because we were moving to a different era of recording. And so George Martin thought, fuck it. Pulled all the gear out, left. And then after that, the volcano hit. And so that studio building is still there, but it's in the no-go zone because of the volcano. So you could see it if you flew over by a helicopter or something like that. But anyway, so yeah.
It sounds like that my father built the castle sketch in
That's it. My father built this castle.
Yeah.
It sunk into the swamp.
Hot and Holy Grail, yes.
Yeah. The last one burned down and sunk into the swamp. But this one stayed up.
Stayed up. Look, when you look where it is, it's all very well for us to say here, it's in the Bahamas. It's the easternmost point of the West Indies, so that little bunch of islands down the south of Florida, in the Gulf of Mexico, or in the opening to the Gulf of Mexico, that's the furthest one closest to the Atlantic Ocean. So, when you talk about storms, we are not talking about a little bit of rain and a bit of wind on a Saturday afternoon. We are talking huge bloody ship-sinking storms, shipwrecks and all sorts of gear. This is not an easy place to build. It's not an easy place to get rescued from.
Yeah, so the whole studio just sort of died in the arse, and music changed forever. That was the sort of the end of it. But a good documentary if you ever want to. I don't know what it's on. I can't remember, some streaming service, but it was quite good.
It's really interesting to see that sort of stuff, because whilst we talk about producers and we talk about the sound on various albums and so on, I would suspect that whilst we don't have any specialist inside information, we probably have more interest in the type of equipment used and how they did that sort of thing in studio than I guess most people who listen to records and just take it as read that this album sounds good or it doesn't. So it's not of interest to most people.
No.
And they don't give a crap whether it's in New York and Luke can walk out in the street and get a hot dog, or whether it's on a tropical island and he can go outside and relax in the beautiful sunshine.
Yeah, I know, but
which he hates.
You had cooks on hand to make anything. They had great food and everything on hand to do whatever they wanted, and they could just hang around the pool and smoke weed, drink booze, and have a good time. And every now and again, make a bit of music.
That sounds great.
Sounds good to me. Anyway. We might move on, eh?
I think we should.
Now, I know you're a fan of Led Zeppelin covers because we were talking about When the Levee Breaks and how much you enjoyed the Playing for Change version of When the Levee Breaks. So I've been lucky enough now to find a version of Whole Lot of Love by a child Filipino band. So, a internet sensation is this bunch of kids. The drummer's 10 years old, and I don't know how the rest of them are. But anyway, so I just thought, seeing you were so excited by the When the Levee Breaks, I thought I'd find another Led Zeppelin cover for you. And this is the latest internet sensation band out there.
Mate, I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you. I knew you'd love it.
I do.
Anyway, the band's called Mission Souls, if you're interested.
I'm not.
Neither am I. So anyway, that's them. Moving on.
The girl makes even no attempt to even look like Robert Plant.
No. She didn't have breast augmentation or removal or anything like that. So,
black straight hair instead of brown curly. It just doesn't fly for me.
Yeah. And then I found this thing about Christine McVie. She's having a auction to sell off a whole bunch of stuff, memorabilia, wardrobe, belongings. So, and she's going to donate it all to charity. So if you want to get online, the auction takes place in Nashville on October the 16th, October the 17th. I know you want to get some stuff, Mick. You'll probably want to get she's got the Hammond organ there. She's got a Yamaha digital piano, some lyrics, some set lists. She's got a framed piano certificate from her education as a student, so you'd want that. I'll be putting a bid in on that. Anyway, she does talk about how you probably don't know this, Mick, but Fleetwood Mac actually consumed some drugs in there.
No.
Chrissy, not so much. She said her and Stevie weren't that much into the drugs. She said that.
Talk is cheap.
And she said, we didn't get that much. My drug of choice was cocaine and champagne. Cocaine and champagne.
Together, of course.
I mean, what an unreal world that is to live in.
Yeah.
It'll be French champagne too.
Of course.
I'm going to have just a little bit of cocaine because I don't really take much drugs, but I'm just going to have this large bottle of champagne, or 3.
And another one to follow it, to wash it down.
What sort would you like, Christian? I think I like Krug. Happy days.
That'll be the one.
I'll have that. Thank you. So anyway, yeah. So if you want to get online, you got October. We'll be out by then, so you'll be able to get some of Chrissy's memorabilia, and it all goes to a good cause.
Fantastic.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. So I thought we'll kick on to 1001 albums you must listen to before you die.
He's stood us well, Bob, hasn't he?
Oh, Bob's gone. I mean, we've got a lot of albums to get through if we want to. We might have to do something different next year, I think. But anyway, we'll get there. We'll decide. But I thought let's just kick straight into Dire Straits and Brother in Arms.
Oh, to keep the theme going.
Keep the theme going. Produced by Mark Knopfler and Neil Dorfman. Art direction, Stuart Sutton Cooper and Andrew Prowett. Running time 55 minutes.
Digital versus
correct. Chart
physical
success in Australia. Chart success in Australia. Number 1 for 93. Sorry, reached number 1, was in the charts for 93 weeks. The singles So Far Away was got to number 22. Was in the charts for 18 weeks. Money for Nothing got to number 4 in the chart for 32 weeks. And Walk of Life got to number 11 in the chart for 19 weeks. So it's the 5th studio album by Dire Straits. You wouldn't have thought so, would you? You wouldn't have thought there was 4 albums before this.
I thought there was only one.
Yeah. And in fact,
Still do.
It was the very first full digital album ever recorded. The very first one. And we've talked about this before as well. If you remember, it had sensational clips for MTV, and it had Sting doing "I Want My MTV" at the beginning of it, and so it was a high rotation on the MTV music show, and became a massive hit album across the world.
Well, it certainly did that, didn't it? Yeah.
I was never a fan of this band.
No, I've got to tell you, neither have I. And in line with our practice of not slandering anybody except Coldplay and Jeff Buckley, I'm not going to today either.
No.
But I didn't. It was never a long way short of my favourite album.
And I listened to it before the other day, and whilst the first 3 songs are incredibly familiar, and I can sing the words because I know all the words because there was such high rotation, the rest, those 3 songs are okay, but the Walk of Life, Money for Nothing is probably the strong song on the album.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why they didn't lead with that, because I think it probably would have been a better song if they led with it, a better album. But the rest of it just doesn't really grab me. I actually had Moving Pictures as well. And it's another one of those albums I never listened to.
Moving Pictures, Making Movies.
Making Movies, that's what it's called. Yeah, they're so impressive.
Is that the one when we shared a townhouse near the park and you dropped it and a little
I don't
slice of it broke out and we put it up on the wall as a souvenir?
Oh, maybe. I've forgotten now. It's a long time ago, isn't it? Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. But anyway, it was one of those. Anyway. They were a big band worldwide. This was their crowning achievement, and they did lots of tours, made lots of money out of it, and good luck to them.
Well, good luck to them. Yeah, look, they could do no wrong at this particular point. They lucked it with the 3 songs, as you've said. In the US, they sold 30 million. They sold 30 million copies worldwide, and in the US, they went 9 times platinum.
It's huge.
That's huge. It's so unbelievable. So they toured Australia on the back of this album. They played. You might recall that they set an attendance record, which will never be broken because they demolished the theatre. 21 nights in a row at the Sydney Entertainment Centre.
Was it really that many? 21.
Yeah, and I read an article recently by Bernard Zuhl in the Sydney Morning Herald, where he talked about it had a capacity of about 10,000.
I thought it was more. I think it had more.
Well,
12.
Let's say for mathematics' sake, it's 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're talking round about 200,000 people in 1986, when the population of Sydney was
Less.
Well, much less, much less. Half what it is now, and that's an incredible number of people.
Yeah.
So, and they talk about, and the entire article was in the context of, is Taylor Swift's attendance figures really, really so spectacular? And he went back to this one. So 40 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
A band played 21 nights in a row at the largest venue in Sydney, and that's easily comparable to what Taylor Swift has done. So they could do no wrong. They made a lot of money. They became very, very popular. But as happens, and there's been other bands. Peter Frampton comes to mind readily, where he had a huge hit with Frampton Comes Alive, and then Thanks Very Much. Who? So the band or artist has a huge hit. Everyone knows these songs. You know these three songs. 40 years later, people will be able to sing them straight away. They hear the opening, I want my, or ding, 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 ding. Yeah. And there's a lot of familiarity. Also, that's Dire Straits, is it? Right? But because those three songs are so strong, people compared those three songs, or their later material, with those three songs. I know all about them. I know what's going on. This new stuff just doesn't cut it. So they set themselves an impossible bar with this album, and as it turned out, history wasn't kind to them, and they weren't able to leap that bar.
No, they weren't. Went off in their separate ways, and Mark Knopfler pops up every now and again. He's done a few solo albums. He did that soundtrack.
He always feels like a soundtrack guitarist to me.
Yeah, because he didn't play with a pick, did he? Play with his fingers, if I remember correctly. I can't remember now.
Oh, you're the technical expert.
I think he did. I'm pretty sure he did. But he also had a slightly a fairly unique style, which gave him some credit as well, because it was a bit different. So yeah, that was. But yeah, they were a big band, and probably beyond me as far as fandom of bands was concerned. It sort of was out of that by then.
Well, because they were so popular and everybody knew them, they were very mainstream. So people whose taste we wouldn't regard liked them.
Yeah.
So therefore, automatically, we discarded it.
True. Just when you were talking about Frampton Comes Alive, we talked about Rick Beato last show. But he's got a very good interview with Frampton.
All right, okay.
on one of his shows there. So if you want to see what Frampton's been doing, he's looking a bit older, but he's still around.
Yeah, he always reminds me of Mark Hamill for some reason. That young, fresh-faced guy who comes out and
with curly hair.
Yeah, there you go.
He hasn't got the.
He's about the same age as Mark Hamill.
Yeah, he would be. Yeah. That was a great. Sorry, it was a double album. Remember, it was a double album.
Frampton Comes Alive.
Yeah. And it wasn't that great an album. I didn't think it was that great an album. But there were those few songs on there that were iconic. With the voice box and all that sort of... What was it called? Was it called a voice box?
Do You Feel Like We Do?
Yeah, what's the thing you used to put it into your mouth? You had a plastic tube that you put into your mouth, and you would mouth, and that would change the sound of the guitar.
It wasn't called a voice box?
Maybe it was. I think it was.
Can't remember. Yeah.
But you used to be able to make words that came as if it came out of the guitar.
Do you feel all right?
Do you feel all right?
Yeah.
And it was a massive album.
Yeah.
But not necessarily a great album.
No, not terribly interesting to us.
No.
In our circle.
But we used to. I don't know what year it would have come out. Quite a while ago.
Oh.
In the 70s, it would have been.
I would think so. Yeah.
But he sort of just burst onto the scene as far as we were concerned.
Yeah.
He'd probably been playing around the States for 15 years or something. England. Oh, he's a Pom, was
Peter Frampton's Camel, and I think he had something to do with Humble Pie.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Anyway, so good on him. So, fantastic. Thank you, Dire Straits, and thank you for your contribution to music, and we will move on.
Yeah, there'll be a check in the mail.
Yeah, well, you got that. Did you get the checkbook set up, by the way?
Shh. Just saying there's a check in the mail.
Do you remember those days of having a checkbook?
Royalty check is in, honey.
Oh dear, checkbook. I don't know whether they they were always big in the US checks. I don't know whether they still use them. People used
Remember when we used to travel with traveller's checks?
Traveller's checks.
Oh,
yes.
You tell that to the young people today, and they won't believe you.
You used to have to go in and like a few weeks before and order your travels checks.
Yeah, yeah.
And we used to get them in US dollars or whatever.
Yep.
Usually US dollars.
Yeah. So you'd take one loss on buying the checks, then another loss on the fee for the checks, and then another loss on changing them to currency at the other end.
Even worse if you wanted to turn them into currency while you're over there as well.
Yeah.
So you could, it was strange. It was pre credit cards, really, wasn't it?
That's right. And people complain about the fees on credit cards, but it's nothing compared to the fees we used to get hit with traveller's checks.
No, it's all
just for the security of don't leave home without them.
Oh, that's right.
Carl Malden.
Yep. The nose.
Exactly right.
Oh.
Don't leave home without them.
What show was he?
Streets
of LA?
Streets of New York or something. Streets of San Francisco.
Streets of San Francisco.
With Michael Douglas.
Driving down the hills all the time. They're always driving down the hills, bouncing down the hills.
That's all there is in San Francisco. It's just hills.
Hills and a bridge.
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic. Carl Malden. God almighty. Drag that one out of your ass, didn't you?
Oh, mate.
There's a lot up there. Anyway, shall we move on,
Let's move on regardless.
What do you got for us again?
Well, bad album decisions. We've all made them.
Yeah.
Well, when we first started talking about this as a topic, you might recall that I went back and had a look at my my digitised database of records and thought, I haven't got any albums to talk about, Jeff.
I've made no bad decisions. They're all good decisions.
But then there's one, and I'm sure you'll agree with it.
I think it's just because you are a little bit precious about it all and can't admit that there are albums in your collection you never listened to. And therefore, it means, in my book, that it's not really an album that you really needed because you never listened to it.
So if I bought it and don't play it, then it's a bad decision, is it?
Potentially. I mean, you may have bought it and to keep and sell later or something like that.
Oh,
but if
of course.
you bought it and you were going to play it because you thought this is going to be great and you play it once and then you never play it again, I call that a bad music choice.
I think if we compare it to some of the ones that you've put up for discussion today, I think we'll let the listeners decide.
Yeah, but you didn't have any to put up, so, it's sort of...
One.
Only barely.
Begrudgingly.
Dragged at it, kicking and screaming at
it.
you.
But on thinking about it was right. And when we get to it, you'll know exactly which one I'm talking about.
But you can go through your entire music collection and you're almost saying, yes, I used to play them all equal. Though I loved them all and I played them all. But there'll be
children.
But there'll be a bunch of them that you just never played because they just weren't that interesting to you anymore.
Yeah, but there's not that interesting and abysmal. There's a world of difference.
I just think you're being a bit up yourself on that whole thing, mate. That's all I'm saying.
That hurts. I'm really hurt by that, Jeffrey. When you're young and unsophisticated, you look for perceived value. I can remember being 10 or 12 and looking at records and pop records by artists and thinking, geez, that's only got 12 songs on it and I only know one of them. So right. I think I'll buy Ripper or Sounds of 74 or something, and because that's got 20 songs that I know.
Supercharge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Supercharge. That was a good one.
There must have been a specific job for someone to come up with compilation album titles.
I remember they used to be advertised on TV.
Yeah.
Around Christmas time, they'd
Absolutely.
always be, get supercharged. Such hits as,
yeah.
Baby, I Want You.
Yeah. And now, you cringe at the songs that were on it.
Yeah. Tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. Yeah. Oh, great songs.
Depends. I mean, we've talked about this before, how when your order as a child in your family can have a big impact on your music taste and how you get introduced to music and how you find things. Like you had an elder brother. And a number of our friends have had elder brothers who've exposed them to different music, so that you come into the game already with some match assistance. Right?
That's it.
So whereas someone like me, who's the eldest child,
already got the knee, taped up.
That's right. Yeah. Someone like me, who's an older child, whose parents didn't care about music anyway. So everything I found, I had to find myself. Right. you do all the exploring and all the discovery yourself. Oh, yeah, woe is me. It's not really. But there's just a difference. It's not good or bad or indifferent. It's just a difference. And look, sometimes part of that process was buying records you might not consider buying later on, when or if your musical appreciation developed a little bit. And some people's don't at all. Yeah, some people continue to like the stuff they liked when they were 15 through their entire life.
I can't imagine that.
It's horrifying to think, isn't it?
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
But
my wife, on the other hand, she had the benefit of having me to expand her musical knowledge. She near gagged at that line when I told her I was going to say that.
What? Does she not agree with it?
Apparently not. No.
Wow.
Look, she had some goodish albums, but she had a far more than necessary collection of things like Bread, Baby I'ma Want You, Chicago, If You Leave Me Now, America.
Oh, yeah.
But look, okay, in fairness declaration, she forced me to go to see an America show.
Yeah.
And they were pretty bloody good, actually. They were very polished performers, good players, Eagles-style harmony, very competent playing.
Yeah.
So I had to eat my words there with America.
Yeah, I still like them. Don't mind listening to a bit of America.
Yeah, they're not bad. She also brought to the table Joan Armatrading.
Oh, yeah, good.
Steely Dan.
Oh, really?
And the White Album, the Beatles' White Album.
All right, okay.
So, but look, I've got to tell you, I don't think I'll ever be forgiven for falling asleep at a Sting concert.
Did you actually fall asleep?
I did.
How come? How did you fall asleep?
I've been working really hard and I was really tired. I nearly fell asleep at Iggy Pop once too.
Oh, okay, all right.
So,
Well,
I've got form at falling asleep on concerts.
Pathological issue. Yeah. I had a similar thing. My wife was a little bit similar. She came with a fairly ragged collection of records. Mostly fairly mediocre. Small and mediocre, I think, was the right term for it.
Oh, good.
But she was welcomed into the fray because I had my record collection, quite a lot of records, and then I had my stereo. And you remember my stereo? It was a bit of a noise machine.
It was indeed. Yeah.
The people who can think of these things, I had a Kenwood KA 98 9800 amp, 65 watts direct drive. No, not direct drive. What was it called? Okay, it was an integrated amp. I can't remember now.
Yep.
The Pioneer PL518 direct drive turntable, and a pair of Serwin Vega 15-inch two-way speakers that were beasts.
Those numbers mean nothing to anybody, but the system itself was bloody huge.
It was made.
It blew people away from the front door.
I've used it in large rooms to make music, dance music, and stuff like that. So it was great fun time. But as always, as I've mentioned previously, it was always the first thing that got brought into, if we had to move, the first thing that got brought into the house and the first thing that was set up while we
absolutely,
packed the rest of the house.
Yeah.
And when we were younger, we did have to move a little bit. So
that was quite actually, we became quite polished at it. Yeah. Who's got the stereo? Yeah, all right, I'll do that.
and of course they were records, so you had to keep turning them over and putting new ones on all the time.
And transport them delicately.
Yes, indeed. And they were heavy too, if you remember. Like a milk crate of records was heavy.
Yeah.
So, because they always get transported in a milk crate.
Milk crates were made, first of all, for transporting records, and then someone thought, you can put bloody milk in these things.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But yeah, perfect for transporting records in. Yeah. And so you get in there, set up the record player, put some music on, and now let's
move some furniture
into the house.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh God, I'm glad I don't have to move ever again.
Well, exactly right. Yeah, when I move, they'll be moving me out.
Yeah,
I might move once more.
Yeah, I think you should move once more, just for fun.
Yeah,
all the
kids are gone, and
that's what happens. Like we moved out of our last house, which was big, with the big pool and all the rest of it, and like the idea of having 50,000 litres of water so you can dunk yourself in it once a week is sort of a bit pointless.
It's a bit crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
And spend I don't know, $1,000 a quarter or more just keeping the pump running.
Yeah, that's right. You bulk up your electricity bill like crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, it was better without it.
let's change the format for this episode, mate. Normally you say, okay, Mick, what do you got for us?
Yeah.
But I'm going to leave it to you. It's your turn to have an opinion, to be opinionated. So what albums have earned your ire?
So I think I've mentioned this before. In my youth, I did accidentally join a record club and used to get records sent to me.
That's how we got making movies.
I haven't got that many of those records on here, but there's been a number of records where I've just made an error. And as I said, there's records that I've had where I've bought the record or someone's given me the record and I've gone, yep, boom, it's catalogued and it's away and it never come out again. Now, I'll tell you one of the ones that this is a song that this is an album that my mum and dad went away one time and came and they didn't bring me back a souvenir. They were away for a week. I think everybody came round to our house. We listened to a lot of music. We drank a lot of beer. We consumed a lot of drugs. And she brought me back Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. Because she thought, oh, you've been playing that Alice Cooper record. But it wasn't my Alice Cooper record. It was actually Tim, friend of the show, Tim's record. I didn't actually have the record. So I ended up with Alice Cooper Goes to Hell, which is kind of the follow-up to Welcome to My Nightmare. Now, if you go online, people love it. They reckon it's the best album. If you go and have a look online, people reckon this is one of the best albums. I disagree. I listened to it basically once and never listened to it again. And so while it's not an album that I bought, it is an album that was always in pristine condition. There were no scratches on that album.
Yeah. You get scratches on them from playing it.
Yeah. They got played once.
Yeah. And even that was too much.
And I played it. And I thought, oh, this will be good. This Alice Cooper, this will be a good album. And it wasn't. I didn't like it. Did you ever listen to it? I can't remember.
I've listened to it the once.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought, oh, he's jumped the shark. Let's move on.
That's right. Anyway.
But you found a great comment recently in a review.
That's right. So this person said, Alice Cooper Goes to Hell is one of the best examples of what the man has to offer. And if you don't get it, fine. Turn your brain off and go back to listening to your Kiss albums. So I switched my brain off.
Yeah, it's the only reasonable response to an ultimatum like that.
Go back to listen to your Kiss. I don't even know what Kiss and Alice Cooper have got in common, except they have fairly theatrical stage shows.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we've seen Alice Cooper and we haven't seen Kiss.
The best example of what the man has to offer.
That's sad, isn't it?
I tend to disagree.
Yeah.
It is not.
Yeah. Since Cooper lost, they split up. Since Alice Cooper, the band split up, and Alice Cooper, the band became Alice Cooper, the man. The songwriting capability for Alice Cooper went with the band that got split up, and didn't stay with Alice Cooper, the man. So pretty much everything he did later on was a downhill climb from his early stuff, from their early stuff.
I think his best work really has always been on the golf course.
With those plaid pants.
He was
fantastic.
And really, and then also he had that radio show, which was very popular worldwide. It used to be syndicated around the world sort of thing. Yeah. That was quite good too. But some of his later music,
just awful.
Just no good. Just no good. But he's still around. He's found God, and he's a happy man. He's a non-drinker, God-fearing golf player.
Well, look, long-term listeners are going to remember we did an episode of Alice, and look, you could be forgiven from thinking that here we don't like Alice Cooper, but far from it. We really do like him. As a person, he's certainly the type of person you want as a friend, certainly the type of person you'd want to know. It's just his music, shit after Welcome to My Nightmare.
Yeah. I'd love to sit down and have a chat to him. I wouldn't have a beer with him because he wouldn't have a beer, but
that's right.
He'd be a fun bloke to have a chat to.
He would indeed.
Now, I'll go on to another one. This is one we can both be easily offended by.
Oh, yes.
Which is the U2 Songs of Innocence, 2014.
What an outrage.
The album that everybody got free on Apple Music. One day you didn't have it, and the next day you did in your Apple library. and it caused worldwide outrage that all of a sudden Apple had almost, I don't know, infringed your personal space by putting this onto your music collection.
Well, you couldn't get it off your phone again or your collection.
It did eventually, but
they just kept reloading.
Yes.
I thought, oh, this is outrageous. Yeah, I think this is a totally correct call, mate. Look, it's free and it wasn't worth the price.
No, it was far too expensive. And it was, I mean, I am actually a U2 fan. I loved U2.
You're dead right, yes.
And with Joshua Tree being the pinnacle of their music. But this is just very mediocre.
Yeah, it's not a strong album by any standard. And if you start Joshua Tree, no one in their right mind could argue that Joshua Tree is not their best material.
No.
And if you started with the list of the top 10 U2 albums and started with Joshua Tree, it's hard to see Songs of Innocence making the top 10.
No, you got Achtung Baby as well.
Boy, War, anything they did early, even Rattle and Hum after you get rid of the posturing.
Because you love them, I know. Now, what I'm going to do now, Mick, is I'm going to go back to an album that I listened to recently, and I decided that I've put this on the list for you, which is Pin-Ups, because I know you would have Pin-Ups.
Pin-Ups by Bowie.
Yep. And I was listening to it, and I don't know why I was listening to it, but I thought, God, there's some fucking awful songs on this album. I mean, there's some stuff that's all right, but I mean, here you have one of the most creative songwriters in musical history. And he does an album of covers. At the pinnacle of his career, he does an album of covers. Some of which just they provide no additional view of that song or no creativity of that song or anything, and I just think, why is it? This seems like a contractual obligation. Was it?
I think so. Yeah, it was a stopgap between Aladdin Sane and Diamond Dogs.
Yeah,
which for Bowie fans you'd know them, but for anyone else, it is way back at the start. He became a hit with the build up to Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, and went from there into these albums. Pin-Ups, I don't share the same black view of it, but I'm also realistic enough to see that it's nowhere near his best. You know, he has done covers before. And in fact, on Aladdin Sane, he did Let's Spend the Night Together by the Stones.
Sure.
Which is probably a better cover than many of the stuff that's on Pin-Ups.
That's a good cover.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. He was in a bit of turmoil, so you could probably argue, and I think that people have apologised for him by saying, you know, he just split up the Spiders from Mars, so he didn't have a band, he was still seeing his way forward, he was looking to try and crack the US market, all of those reasons. Yeah, it's okay. It's a collection of songs by Floyd, The Who, Pretty Things, that meant something to him in growing up. And he's a child of the 60s. So, but, you know, it's, you know, I think a mixed reception. Some criticise the execution of it. And when you go back and listen to it, and I've had to do this, and it's not strong. It's not a strong album. The overplayed English accent, and he came from the area of Cockney London. Bowie did, so he could certainly do that without, a bit like Western Suburbs Sydney. He could put that accent on without straining too much. He wasn't a private school boy, trying to do a down market accent. But Shapes of Things, the Yardbirds song. Shapes of things beyond my time. I thought, I've never liked that. I thought, Jesus, David, what are you doing?
For such a sophisticated man.
Yeah. Look, Bowie always admired and wanted to be Tommy Steele. So he did like that theatrical, putting on voices, putting on this and that. That shows in his early work. If you're a fan of that early time, you would have seen Bowie doing stuff for the Ziggy Stardust tour. He worked with Lindsay Kemp, world famous mime artist.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I did know that.
He really pushed early. He was one of the first of those who had a visual show. You know, you could see, you know, what he was doing, the hair, the costumes he had with the band, all of that sort of thing. So this album played into that. So he tried to get some of that theatricality into his voice. I know you don't like Sorrow, but I regard that as one of Bowie's better singles. I loved, and it was the first time he unveiled that deeper voice that he had, that he used later for most of his career.
You know, one of the things that song, I think, the film clip used to be played all the time on, and I think I just learned to dislike it.
That's possible. Yeah.
It was a heavy rotation film clip on the shows that we used to watch, the music shows we used to watch. So it may be a bit of bias I have there.
Film clips can be a double-edged sword. Yeah. And if you hate the film clip, it biases the song.
Yeah.
Look, I still think it's part of Bowie's golden period, where he was growing, creating, doing lots of really interesting stuff. Look, but if I had to nominate a Bowie album that I had bought that was a mistake, and I hate to admit it, but anything he did after Scary Monsters, and I bought them all.
Yeah, right.
Things like Never Let Me Down, Reality, Heathen. I kept buying them for a number of years. You recall what a Bowie fan I was.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and I kept buying them out of a misplaced loyalty and a belief that someone so talented couldn't keep producing such awful albums. Most of those albums, if I played them, they were CDs by that stage.
Yeah.
And if I played them twice, because I thought, shit, there's nothing here to make me want to go back to this.
Yeah, right.
This is just bloody awful. So. Again, despite the fact that I said I got nothing I wish I hadn't bought, there's something I wish I hadn't bought.
What did you think of his final album?
Compared to anything he'd done in the 20 years before that, fine.
Yeah.
Compared to anything he did in his golden period, who?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. Now, I just want to talk about an album that was so bad. His record company sued him for not producing an album that sounds like him, and that was Trans by Neil Young. And if you listen to it, it's got this sort of I think it's a very mediocre album. And I actually did have it. I actually had the record. And I don't even know how I ended up with it. I know I bought it because it was on special.
There's a good reason to buy
I just remembered. I bought it was on special. You know, sometimes you get there because albums were around about
Young, yeah, that's all right.
$20 bucks or something like that. I think it was around $10. I thought, you beauty, I'll buy that. But it was very electronic, as you know, and he had found this this synthesizer thing to push his voice through, and made it sound robot like. Yep. And so there wasn't much in there that sounded like Neil Young, and so the record company was all royally pissed off because of the sound of the lack, because he had just changed record companies and he was on contract to produce 3 records, I think it was, and this was the first one, I think, from memory. And they went, "What the fuck is this?
Why have we just paid $1 million for this crap?"
And you're doing an album that doesn't sound like you. But he says that I had it written down here somewhere. Yeah, Young, he actually said, Trans is one of my best records. From a standpoint of being misunderstood, Trans was made with the idea of supporting it with a series of videos that went with the story. And I've read his autobiography, and he talks about Trans. He is very passionate about it. And but as far as being an accessible Neil Young album, it's not that. What did you think of it?
Mate, I agree with you putting it on the list. I think it's not a great album. It's not a strong album, no matter the style. But I think you're wrong. I think you got it for the wrong reasons. I think the electronic bit is probably the most interesting thing on the album. The rest of the album is dull and lifeless. It's not all electronica.
No, it's not. No,
there's some other stuff. There's he's really hard on himself, and he loves quality. That's why he's got such a huge catalogue of crap that he never releases, because he won't release stuff unless he thinks it's good. And I'm really surprised that he let this album out. Despite what he says, things like an Inca, talking about South America, the Aztecs, the Incas, and so on. It's dull sound, dull music with poor imagery. Mr. Soul is a good song that he wrote with Steve Stills. from Buffalo Springfield. And Buffalo Springfield did a great version with him singing.
Yeah, right.
This is a filler. But it's he thought the song was so good, it's worth doing again. Well, why didn't he do a good version of it? It's just bloody awful. Computer Age is actually one of the better songs on the album. It was covered later by Sonic Youth on the album The Bridge, which was a fundraising album for the Bridge School, where both of his kids went to do music therapy.
And he wrote he part of this album was in order to reach. Was it Ben, his first son?
I think that's the name. Yeah,
I think it was Ben, his first son. To reach him because of his severe autism. I think it had something to do with that.
Oh,
in fact, I know it had something to do with that.
But I can't see how he would have unless he wanted Ben to listen to crap music. Neil let himself down with this album, I think. No matter what he says and no matter how much he tries to justify it later, it's just uninterested and uninteresting.
Yeah, it's a Transform Man. Did you like that song? Transform Man.
Well, that was interesting. But yeah, and as I say, the electronic stuff on there was at least him challenging things a bit. But it's half filled with filler. Yeah. And that's why I cited like an Inca and Mr. Soul as examples of that. They're just rubbish. And they're good songs. It's the performance that's terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, that was one I did have, and I did buy it, and I was one of the ones where I played it once and never played it again. Now, another album that which does happen where you buy an album based on a song, and there's many albums around that it's happened, but this one was the song was huge worldwide, and the band Golden Earring produced the album Moontan with, of course, the song Radar Love, which is a rollicking, fantastic song. Used to sing it all the time. But the rest of the album, I don't think the rest of the album's that fantastic, and I never really listened to the rest of the album. I listened to the song, and that was about all I ever listened to. But it did have a nice cover.
It certainly had a near-naked fan dancer. What's not to like for a teenage boy?
With blue nipples.
Absolutely. The best colour. Maybe she was a bit cyanotic.
Oh, I didn't think about it. Oh, where were they from? They were from
Holland.
So it might have just been a bit cold.
I would say so. Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
But you didn't mind it. Did you like it?
I loved it. I thought it was a great album.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I really did.
I never really listened to it much. That's the whole thing.
It's not the strongest album. It's just in my collection as another good album. But it's not too bad. It's all right actually. It's a reasonable example of that early European style that sort of came to fruition with Kraftwerk and Donna Summer and Giorgio Moroder, people like that. Disco. The theme of the album, it was very thematic, so it wasn't a concept album by any stretch of the imagination, but the seductive nature of the nightlife of European cities. Some very good songs. Radar Love, obviously, that's a cracker of a song. Candy's Going Bad,
which is okay. I must admit I don't like Candy's Going Bad.
Vanilla Queen, same thing. A nocturnal Vanilla Queen, goes out, carries on in not ideal, not great activities. That sort of thing.
The thing is, I think it's while it's not the best example, but it is an example of an album where you've got such a strong song on there. It can take away from the rest of the album, and often in some cases the album is actually just full of shit songs, and there's one strong song on it. But it can, I think, with such a song coming up the front of it. The rest of the songs sort of fade a little bit by comparison.
I know what you're saying, but I don't think this is one of those albums that it's look, there's got to be a lot of middle category. Most albums are middle category. Oh yeah, pretty good.
Yeah,
great single, some other good songs, and that's how you describe this album. Yeah. But certainly not one of the great mistakes of my life. I liked it. I've always liked it.
All right, so we'll leave it on there. We're going to keep it in the collection.
I think I will. Yes.
Yeah. All right, staying there. All right. We've always been a fan of a triple album, haven't we?
I love triple albums, yeah.
And
because they weigh 3 times as much.
And this one was another one I got for a present, and great cover, really good cover. and we've talked about it before briefly, but Yes songs live. One of those albums you know what? I actually don't think I've listened to the entire album.
I don't think you can do it in one sitting.
I don't think I have.
No.
And if you think about it, this is a band at their pinnacle, really. You know, they've got 3 albums behind them. And I think it's very brave to go out and produce a triple live album with really only 3 albums behind you. It's not very common to do that sort of thing.
Brave or arrogant.
Yeah, one or the other, or both.
Yep.
But, you know, they do have some great songs, and let's face it, at the time, some of the greatest musicians in a band, you know, Steve Howe with his Gibson ES-175D, meaning dual pickup, semi-acoustic, amazing guitarist, absolutely amazing guitarist, amazing sound. Chris Squire with his 64 Rickenbacker, also amazing.
Do you throw in all these guitar details just so that Tim at the Guitar Spa can salivate?
Yep.
Thank you.
Give him half a horn. And then, of course, if you remember back to the day, Rick Wakeman with just far too many keyboards.
Yeah, it's lucky they didn't have microwaves then.
It's just, that's right. He'd knock up a toasted sandwich while he's there.
That's right.
He was amazing, because nowadays you can almost buy a keyboard that'll do everything all those keyboards would do. But back in the day, they all had slightly different sounds and all did different things. So, and he had his big sparkly cape on and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, didn't he?
But as an album, I never listened to it. As I said, I've never listened to all of it. And yeah, you also get the long solos as well, which can be a bit much.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, mate, at this time for this album, every member of Yes is a crack musician at the top of their game. And as they went through, they kept attracting terrific musicians. Anyone who's played in Yes really has to be, you know, one of the best of their category, whether it's guitarist or drummer or what have you. But I tell you what, sporting analogy, a star team is not necessarily a team of stars. And this album, as much of Yes's material is, not all, but much, boring as batshit.
So another album where there is one song that dominates the album. I had this album. And if you think about, what was the movie, The Bachelor Party, or whatever it was called, where they go to New York. And The Hangover. Yeah. The Hangover Part 1. Okay. They go to New York and they meet Mike Tyson, and he's listening to, of course, In the Air Tonight. And they walk in and he goes, hold it. And he goes, boom, 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 boom. Great song. Fantastic song. But not a great album.
Nah, you're right. And that technique, that gated mic technique, was the same sound process, recording process that they used on Heroes by Bowie. Yep. So as Bowie raised his voice, the microphone's further away, picked up more of his voice, so it boosted the return. And that's what they did there with the drums.
But yeah, I don't know, was this his first solo or?
It was, yeah. Genesis was doing still fine, I guess. Yeah, but you know, he had to let his creative stuff out. I don't know why he didn't. He just made this album instead.
Yeah. It's, not a great album.
Yeah. Look, I don't begrudge. Phil Collins, by all accounts, is a nice bloke, and I don't begrudge any of his success. You know, you do what you can to get what you want, and but as is so often the case, you know, with musicians who are then going to strike it big, whether it's their own call or whether it's management saying you got to do this or friends urging them to do stuff, he had to take a big step down in quality to make it a hit.
I just don't understand how so you've been in Genesis, you've created some of the greatest music
with some of the greatest musicians, yes,
and then you're sitting in the mixing room and you're mixing the next song after, you're mixing the rest of the album. Are you not sitting there going, oh, how do I get out of this? Are you not doing something like that? Are you?
Yes, yeah.
Or are you thinking, fucking this is great. Fuck, listen to it.
This is going to make me a fortune. I'll be able to go to Montserrat and sit on the beach with Lou Reed.
But,
My question about this album, of course, is how can you narrow it down to one dud album?
oh, right. That's right.
Yeah, you just say Phil Collins solo stuff,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, it's nothing great. So anyway, look, thanks, Phil, for the song. Great song.
Yep.
Great landmark song. And we'll just move on to another great musician, an amazing musician, one of the grumble bums of the world.
Oh, on a good day, he's a grumble bum.
I'm talking about Lou Reed,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about Metal Machine music.
Shit.
What do you say about metal? I don't even know what to say about it.
Look, this is one of Lou's big FUs to the recording industry, because I'm not as free as you. I can't say the F word, because that's your job.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll say it though. It's fucked. It's just fucked.
Lou's was a very conflicted man. He wanted success on his terms, but I don't think he ever decided or defined to himself what those terms were. Right. So, Transformer was a huge hit, and he hated it. He hated what he said. He hated what he became. He hated the expectations that fans and the industry put on him. That's why he was such an asshole to journalists and other people that he met, because he was unhappy with himself.
Yeah.
And much of this, I've read his a number of biographies, in particular Transformer, about Lou Reed. His biography, and he was not a happy man all the way through his life. He, like I said, he didn't like Transformer. He thought that it had lightened everything down too much, and he eventually split up with Bowie, although they were friends there for a time, because Bowie produced Transformer.
Yeah.
So he went on and produced Berlin, which you've actually said that's one of your favourite albums, despite being so miserable. Yeah, so he produced that, and that wasn't a hit, and that wasn't good enough for him.
Yeah.
So the industry still kept expecting great things from Lou Reed. So he said, right, I'll show you. So he produces an album full of feedback drones. Yeah, and it's great if you like feedback drones, and who doesn't? I've seen Lou Reed lots of times in concert, and he that type of playing has its place in a concert during a song.
Yeah,
if he wants an effect.
Yeah.
And he does it really well. He's great at actually attacking his guitar and getting some really painful sounds out of it, all in the interests of art. And live during a song, that's a fantastic thing. But to do an album of it, it's even more than the most dedicated fan can abide, and I couldn't. Had it, crap. Yeah, and I really wouldn't there's other Lou Reed albums, and he went up and down, that were better than others. And you could easily categorise. I do a 1 to 10 of Lou Reed, because some stuff's good, some stuff's not good, some's not so good, and so on and so on. But this album, this far and away wins every poll of what's the worst Lou Reed album.
Oh, without doubt.
Look, and apparently it's sold accordingly too. Yeah. It's often hard to get realistic sales numbers, but apparently it's sold 100,000 copies, and a fair proportion of those brought it back for a refund.
What do you call this?
So, I've got some other Reed albums, as I say, that were panned, but nothing like this, and nothing as deserved as this.
Yeah. If you ever get the opportunity to listen to it, don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, I move on to actually one of my favourite artists, or solo artists, which is Pete Townsend from The Who. And he's had this sort of lifelong thing about this thing he calls Lifehouse. And if you read up a little bit about Lifehouse, you'll probably end up as confused as I am about what the fuck this thing is. But he has always had this this thing about having this Lifehouse project. And he was trying to get this Lifehouse project concept after as a follow-up to the Tommy album. And he wrote a whole bunch of songs, and he wanted this whole thing about having interactive concerts. And so they actually did some interactive concerts. I have no idea what an interactive concert is, but it's not just them playing music and you clapping at the end of the song. It's something else. And so he tried that, and it didn't really work. And then after that, he went into the recording studio, and he was trying to explain the whole Lifehouse concept to Glyn Johns, who had no idea what he was talking about. I've read about it. I'm still not sure exactly what he's on about. Anyway, they ditched Pete's whole idea about this Lifehouse thing, and then they produced one of the greatest Who albums, Who's Next. Moving forward, he's still got this whole Lifehouse thing stuck in his brain, and he comes up with this album called Psychoderelict. And it's about this washed-up muso who tries to get back into music, and he's talking about music connected to the grid and all this sort of shit. And it's one of those albums where you've got some music interspaced with spoken word, and there's actual actors doing it all. But it's just shit. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. That's what it is. It's stupid. There's some good music in there, and maybe if it ended up being a rock music on stage, and there was context with acting and all that sort of stuff, you may get it. But as an album, it's awful. There's some great songs in it, and if you look around, you can actually find Psychoderelict, the music, and that's not bad. But there is some shit in there as well. But anyway, Pete does some of this sort of stuff, and he's done quite a few musicals, Quadrophenia, Tommy, and there's another one out at the moment too. It's been on, I can't even think what it's called. There's been another one out just recently. I don't know what it's called.
When it works, it works.
Yeah.
Tommy's great. Quadrophenia, not so much, but still has some good stuff on it.
Yeah. But anyway, so Psychoderelict is just one of those albums that he probably shouldn't have bothered. Yeah. He should have just taken some of those songs and put them on something else. Yeah.
And so you don't need to bother either, people.
No, don't bother. So we'll just finish off on a couple more. Beatles Naked. I had the CD of Beatles Naked, and it was meant to be sort of Paul McCartney's sort of fight back against Phil Spector's production of Let It Be. George Martin refused to produce Let It Be. I believe that's right. I mean, we're not true Beatle experts, so we could be wrong in some of this, but. So they got Phil Spector in to produce, and he did a bit of the wall of sound type stuff in some of the stuff with orchestral pieces and stuff like that. So Long and Winding Road in particular. And then also stuck in there is the live rooftop concert that's there as well. And I listened to it and I thought, what's the point? The rooftop stuff, is it significantly better produced or anything like that? Not really, I don't think. If you listen to any of the remastered Let It Be albums, I can't pick up on much. I can't pick up any difference, to be brutally honest. But I don't have a $50,000 stereo system to be able to check. But I couldn't really spot much difference.
And if you can't tell the difference without a $50,000 stereo, then what's the bloody point?
That's right. So it's. I don't know. I kind of think, is it just a fan album? Is it an album just for fans to say, wow, isn't this great? Because there's extra, there's an extra song from the rooftop concert in there. They've removed the chatter from. There's a bit of chatter around Maggie May and Dig It, and they added Don't Let Me Down in there. So. Overall, I just think it's not worth it. It doesn't add to the real body of Beatles music. But when you're a band of the Beatles stature, you can produce, and as you know, there are so many albums of outtakes and fucking cuts of this song, cuts of that song. It sits into that sort of space as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it holds its own as an album, personally.
No, it's a bit with some nice effects. Frankly, I can't see what his upset is about Phil Spector's version. Yeah, really, I thought that original Spector, and Spector's got his own problems. And that's a whole different episode.
Maybe McCartney didn't like having the gun put to his head.
That could be what it is. If he felt hijacked. But I thought Spector did a great job. And Long and Winding Road, I think it's a bit thin without Spector's production, and maybe Spector felt that as well.
That's what I thought too. When you listen to it. It needs more. It doesn't hold its own with not much going on. It's a fairly long and winding, tortuous road.
And Let It Be. I've made a little note here. Does he ever shut up about Nick Bloody Cave? But Cave did a very stripped down, spare version of Let It Be. And it's great, and it works that well. Yeah, it works that way. If it's a good song, it's a good song. Stripped, orchestral, whatever. But to make a whole album and the kerfuffle that he made about it, saying, I'm redoing it the way it should have been done. I've listened to it a few times.
It shouldn't have been.
So what?
Yeah,
it's nice to have a different version of Long and Winding Road. This is what I think should have been, blah, blah, blah. And that's all great. But to make a whole new album and say this is the proper version,
I agree.
Bullshit.
It in my view, it belongs in amongst those albums, which is outtakes and all that sort of stuff. It belongs in that space, not a standalone album all by itself lonesome.
Yep.
It's an interesting addition to the catalogue of the Beatles, but it's not an album by itself, I don't think.
Dead right.
Anyway, should we do one more?
Yeah, let's do one more. One of our favourite bands.
One of the strongest rock bands in the history of modern world, Led Zeppelin.
Indeed. Or the New Yardbirds, as we're going to name them from now on.
The New Yardbirds.
Yeah.
In Through the Outdoor.
Panned like buggery when it was released.
The 8th and final Zeppelin album. And it really took the band out with a whimper rather than a bang, I think. It didn't really stack up as a great Zeppelin album. I think I was reading Page was sort of a bit of a heroin addict at this particular point in time. John Bonham was sort of
an everything addict,
doing everything. Robert Plant was coming to terms with the fact that his 5-year-old son had died, and was sort of drinking a bit of booze as well. And really, it's kind of the John Paul Jones album. There's a lot of keyboard on there.
You know my opinion. I think John Paul Jones is a bloody fantastic. He's one of the adornments of the rock music era since the 60s. Yeah. Any work he's done with people, he did Them Crooked Vultures with a few people, and absolutely pulled it together. Absolute cracker of an album. But I don't think this album deserved the panning it got. And you'll recall from our earlier episode where we talked about how on earth do critics come up with these criticisms. Yeah, I think the criticism for In Through the Outdoor was partially a continuation of the attacks on Jimmy Page and Robert Plant right from the start of the Yardbirds implosion, for which Plant and Page got blamed. Yeah, and I think much of that criticism is totally unfounded, totally unfair. Not the strongest Led Zeppelin album, but my God, not the strongest album by one of the greatest rock bands the world has ever seen. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Look, I'll be honest with you. The Carousel Ambra, or whatever the song is.
Carousel Ambra, yeah.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Listen to In the Evening and All My Love.
Okay,
yeah.
I will.
All
My Love's good.
But. Yeah, and in the Evening it starts out with Plant, with that wail that he's got, and then launches straight into Page, Wall of Everything. You talk bloody Phil Spector and his Wall of Sound. Page starts there and throws every bloody amp he can at the wall.
It's interesting too, because it was actually recorded at ABBA's studio in Sweden. So this brand new whiz-bang studio they recorded, did it in 3 weeks, and went home on the weekend. So they actually went back to England on the weekend. So they're only there for anyway, it's just sort of a bit different to the way Zeppelin has done its music. So that's why I think there's a few factors that make it the album that it is.
Yeah, I still think it's a great album. It may not be their best. It may not be the best Zeppelin album. Probably not the worst. But at their worst, look, Zeppelin are better than almost every other band. Yeah, so if they do an album that's crap by Zeppelin standards, it's probably 50 bands out in the street who would say, God, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd been able to swing like Fool in the Rain. I wish I'd get that wail of Plant's voice. I wish I could have John Paul Jones to tie it all together with keyboards.
It just stays in the collection.
It does.
It's in the collection and it's staying there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you, In Through the Outdoor. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and we will see you next time. Well, that's a wrap, and thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. It's free. And if you like this, tell your friends about us. Also, contact us at mickandthefatman@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks very much. See you next time.